Did you know that Japan has the highest proportion of people over 100 years old in the world? And many of them still cook, walk, and garden every single day. That's not just luck. It's not just genetics. Scientists from the World Health Organization have confirmed that diet accounts for nearly 30% of their extraordinary lifespan advantage. But here's the shocking truth. Most of us in the West are eating foods that silently speed up aging. Foods that spike inflammation, stiffen our arteries, and rob us of energy. The exact opposite of what Japanese elders do every day. And here's where it gets really interesting. When researchers compared the daily diets of 90-year-olds in Okinawa, one of the world's so-called blue zones, with seniors in the US and Europe, they found a dramatic difference. Western seniors were eating almost 5 times more of certain harmful foods and barely touching the protective foods that keep Japanese elders strong. This isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. Imagine walking into your 70s and 80s without joint pain, without constant fatigue, and with the ability to enjoy your hobbies and family just like you did 20 years ago. Today, we're going to uncover the exact 4 foods Japanese elders eat every single day. And the 4 foods you must never touch if you're over 60. Number 1 on the bad list is probably sitting in your kitchen right now. And number 1 on the good list. It's been shown in studies to slash heart attack risk by 41% and keep seniors active well into their 90s. Everything we share is backed by peer-reviewed research and senior nutrition science, not internet myths. Stick with me until the end because I promise, this could be the single most important change you make for your health this year. Now let's start with the 4 foods you should never touch after 60, because removing these may instantly lower inflammation, protect your heart, and give you back the energy you've been missing. Bad food number 4. Processed red meats, bacon, ham, sausage, deli meats. Over 60? Then this matters today. That small strip of bacon isn't just breakfast. It can trigger a silent cascade of arterial damage and inflammation you won't feel until it steals your stamina, your balance, and your independence. Processed meats are packed with nitrates/nitrites that can form nitrosamines, which is why the WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer classified processed meat as carcinogenic to humans. Their 2015 assessment estimated that every 50 grams per day, approximately 2 bacon slices, raises colorectal cancer risk by approximately 18%. For hearts over 60, the picture is worse. A meta-analysis in Circulation found that each 50 grams per day of processed meat is linked to approximately 42% higher coronary heart disease risk and approximately 19% higher diabetes risk. A 1-2 hit to circulation and energy you simply can't afford, and the long-term toll shows up in hard outcomes. In the 10-country EPIC cohort, approximately 448,000 people, published in BMC Medicine, the heaviest processed meat consumers had sharply higher mortality. The authors estimated 3.3% of deaths could be prevented if intake stayed under 20 grams per day. Translation: trimming processed meat now isn't optional. It's a life-extending move. Why this clashes with Japanese longevity? Japanese elders, the very people who lead the world in healthy aging, rarely lean on processed red meats. Their everyday plate favors miso soup, grilled oily fish, sardines, mackerel, tofu or natto, plus seaweed and vegetables. Protein and omega-3s, without the nitrates, ages, and excess sodium that make processed meats so damaging after 60. What to do today? Copy the Japanese Elder Playbook. Swap bacon/ham for grilled mackerel or sardines at breakfast, artery-protective omega-3s. Trade deli meats for tofu, natto, or edamame in bowls and salads. Protein without the hit. Add a warm bowl of miso soup to start meals, gentler on blood pressure and digestion. Cutting processed red meat is your first leverage point, and brace yourself. Bad food number 3 is even sneakier. It looks light, sits on millions of breakfast tables, and ages your arteries before noon. You may be eating it every single morning. Bad food number 3, refined white bread and pastries. Light and fluffy, white toast, muffins, croissants, donuts. Feel harmless, yet after 60, they're glycemic grenades. They spike blood sugar, slam insulin, and age your arteries before noon. A large international analysis in the New England Journal of Medicine linked high glycemic index diets with higher cardiovascular disease and death, and the Pure study in the BMJ tied refined grain intake to higher mortality and major CV events. According to Pure, people eating over approximately 350 grams of refined grains daily had approximately 27 to 33% higher risk of total mortality or major cardiovascular disease events compared with those eating less than approximately 50 grams per day. Mechanism in plain English: refined flour is stripped of fiber, digests fast, and floods your bloodstream with glucose. Controlled feeding studies show low GI, high fiber meals improve post-meal endothelial function and cut insulin demand, exactly what aging arteries need. Real person, real result. Ellen, 73, started every day with white toast and jam. She wasn't diabetic, but she felt dizzy mid-morning and napped after lunch. We swapped her pastry breakfast for a Japanese elder-style plate. Small bowl of miso soup, mugi gohan, rice plus barley, and natto for protein. In 2 weeks, her post-meal crashes vanished. By week 4, her blood pressure readings stabilized and her afternoon walks returned. Do this instead. Copy Japanese elders. Replace white bread or pastries with mugi gohan or genmei, brown rice, or 100% buckwheat soba. Pair carbs with natto, tofu, or a small portion of fish to blunt spikes. Start meals with miso soup to slow gastric emptying and smooth glucose. Cut the fluffy breakfast now, because the next culprit is even faster. Liquid sugar that hits your bloodstream in minutes. Bad food number 2. Sugary soft drinks and artificial juices. Sodas, sweet teas, sports drinks, dairies, and yes, even big glasses of 100% fruit juice are liquid sugar. In a JAMA internal medicine analysis of 451,000 Europeans, both sugar-sweetened and diet soft drinks tracked with higher all-cause mortality, Harvard's circulation study showed a dose response. The more sugary drinks, the higher cardiovascular death risk. And JAMA Network Open linked each extra 12-ounce serving of 100% fruit juice with significantly higher mortality. Natural sugar still spikes you. Even zero sugar isn't a free pass. A Nature paper showed common non-caloric sweeteners can induce glucose intolerance by disrupting the gut microbiome, a metabolic blind spot for many seniors. Real person, real result. Marjorie, 74, drank 2 glasses of fresh orange juice daily for vitamins, plus a diet soda at lunch. She complained of afternoon brain fog and a creeping A1C. We cut the juice and soda, moved her to unsweetened green tea, sencha, and barley tea, mujika, and added a protein-rich tofu plus salmon lunch. 1 month later, her energy was steady, bathroom trips fewer, and a drop in fasting glucose on her labs. Do this instead, copy Japanese elders. Hydrate with unsweetened green tea, mujicha, or water, lemon, ginger, mint for flavor. Treat juice as dessert, not hydration. Pair carbs with protein/healthy fat to blunt spikes. Ditch the liquid sugar today, because the number 1 item isn't in a cup, it's hiding in your frying pan, and it quietly fans the flames of inflammation with every meal. Bad food number 1, vegetable oils high in omega-6, corn, soy, cottonseed oil. The stealth threat in many kitchens. Corn, soy, and cottonseed oils flood meals with omega-6 linoleic acid. Balance matters, reviews by Dr. Artemis Simopoulos, and more recent work show that the high omega-6/omega-3 ratio typical of Western diets promotes inflammation and increases mortality risk. In a UK Biobank prospective cohort of 85,425 participants, those with the highest plasma omega-6/omega-3 ratio had about 26% higher all-cause mortality and 31% higher cardiovascular mortality compared to those with lowest ratios. And history gave us a warning sign. When trials replaced saturated fat with omega-6 oils alone, outcomes didn't improve. Reanalyses in BMJ of the Sydney Diet Heart Study, safflower oil, very high omega-6, and the Minnesota coronary experiment, corn oil, found lower cholesterol but no mortality benefit and potential harm. There's more. Cottonseed oil can contain gossypol, a natural toxin with documented cardiac and mitochondrial effects. And when these oils are reheated or used for deep frying, they generate toxic aldehydes, oxidation products flagged in modern lipid chemistry papers as stressors to vessels and nerves. Real person, real result. Walter, 70. Cooked veggies in heart-healthy vegetable oil and reused it for frying. He had stiff morning joints and sky-high triglycerides. We scrapped the seed oils, switched him to low-oil cooking, steaming simmering, grilled mackerel twice a week, and a small drizzle of extra virgin olive oil only at low heat. In 6 weeks his triglycerides dropped, morning stiffness eased, and his walks grew longer. Do this instead. Copy Japanese elders. Ditch corn, soy, cottonseed, especially for frying, are reuse. Favor steaming, simmering, grilling, plus oily fish, sardines, mackerel, for omega-3s. If using oil, keep it small and low heat, e.g., extra virgin olive oil. That closes the never touch list. Now, let's flip the script to the 4 foods Japanese elders eat every single day to protect their heart, joints, and brain. Good food number 4, miso soup, fermented soy. In Japan, countless elders still start the morning the same way they did as children. A small bowl of steaming miso soup beside rice and a little fish. Part of the simple Ichiju Sansai rhythm that favors low-oil cooking, vegetables, and the sea. It isn't nostalgia, it's strategy. Miso is fermented, gentle on an aging stomach, and it sets the tone for steadier blood pressure and calmer nerves the rest of the day. Researchers in Japan have repeatedly noted that people who make fermented soy a daily habit, miso and natto, age with fewer cardiovascular problems. Large cohorts published by Japanese public health teams link fermented soy intake with lower risk of hypertension and functional decline in older adults. And here's the twist most people don't know. Despite its salt, miso doesn't behave like plain salt in the body. University labs in Japan have reported that miso's fermentation creates bioactive peptides with mild ACE inhibitor activity. Small clinical trials observed lower nighttime blood pressure and reduced sympathetic stress signals compared with equivalent sodium from broth. In other words, the fermentation changes the effect. Meet Mrs. Tanaka from Nagano, 90 years old and still tending her garden. Every morning she warms dashi, slips in cubes of tofu and a pinch of wakame, turns off the flame, and gently dissolves a spoon of miso. Her daughter once begged her to cut it out for the salt. The clinic dietitian smiled and pulled out recent Japanese studies showing why miso isn't just salt water. The microbial fermentation and peptides appear to blunt salt's pressure effect. Mrs. Tanaka kept the soup and kept hauling baskets of greens up the hill. Here's how to make this work for you, starting tomorrow. Heat water or a light kombu bonito stock. Add tofu, wakame, and sliced scallion. Keep the simmer easy. Turn the heat off and whisk in 1 to 2 teaspoons of miso so you don't kill the live cultures. Taste and adjust. Pair it the way Japanese elders do. A scoop of mugi gohan, rice mixed with barley, or brown rice, and a small portion of grilled mackerel or a square of tofu. If you're watching sodium, choose a reduced salt miso. Keep portions modest, and ask your clinician how it fits your plan. What you'll notice first isn't drama. It's steadier energy, a warmer stomach, and less strain after meals. 1 small bowl, 5 quiet minutes, and a daily nudge toward the blood vessels and independence you want to keep. Next up, a stickier Japanese staple that does even more for arteries and bones. Most people outside Japan skip it, and that's a mistake. Good food number 3, natto, fermented soybeans. Walk into a quiet kitchen in Aichi at dawn and you'll see what Japanese elders have done for generations. Tear open a tiny pack, whip the beans until the threads shine, spoon it over warm barley rice, and breathe in the steam. Natto is an acquired taste. Sticky, nutty, a little funky, but elders don't treat it like a dare. They treat it like a daily tool, small amounts, steady benefits. Researchers in Japan have been saying the quiet part out loud. A large national cohort published in BMJ linked higher fermented soy intake, especially natto, with lower cardiovascular mortality in older adults. Why? Natto is the richest food source of vitamin K2, menaquinone 7, which helps direct calcium to bone, not arteries. Clinical work reported in journals such as Osteoporosis International and Journal of Bone and Mineral Research associates K2 with better bone status and fewer fractures. Natto also contains nattokinase, a fibrinolytic enzyme. Small human trials, e.g., hypertension research nutrients, have shown modest blood pressure reductions and lower fibrinogen, pointing to smoother circulation, exactly what you want after 60. Add the fermentation itself, Bacillus subtilis var, natto, and its viscous polygamma-glutamic acid, which may enhance mineral absorption. And you've got breakfast working quietly in your favor. Real person, real result. Mr. Sato, 91, a retired carpenter, still bikes to tend a riverside garden with his grandson. 2 years ago, he woke stiff and heavy after meals. The clinic dietitian didn't hand him supplements. She swapped his white toast and ham for a Japanese elder-style plate. Mugi gohan, rice mixed with barley, a spoon of natto whipped with scallions and mustard, plus green tea. 3 weeks later, he noticed he could squat longer to weed. By 2 months, he stood from the tatami with less effort and walked home without stopping. Same house, same routine, different fuel. Try it the way elders do. Keep a frozen multi-pack. Thaw one overnight. In the morning, open, add the sauce or mustard, stir 30 to 50 times until silky, and serve over mugi gohan with chopped scallions or a splash of soy and rice vinegar. Start with 1 to 2 tablespoons, 3 to 4 mornings a week. Pair with miso soup and a small piece of grilled mackerel or tofu. If you take warfarin or other vitamin K-sensitive anticoagulants, check with your clinician. Next, we'll pour a daily drink that pushes those vascular benefits even further, green, calming, and quietly protective. Good food number 2. Green tea, sencha or matcha. In Japanese kitchens, the kettle goes on before the sun is high, steaming cups of sencha at breakfast. A quiet bowl of matcha before a walk. It isn't just habit, it's strategy for vessels, brain, and balance. The Osaki cohort in JAMA followed over 40,000 older Japanese adults and found that people drinking 5 or more cups of green tea daily had significantly lower all-cause and cardiovascular mortality compared to those who drank less than 1 cup. Later work, including a pooled analysis of 8 cohort studies with over 300,000 Japanese participants, confirmed that higher green tea intake is linked to reduced risk of heart disease, stroke, and death. Mechanistically, catechins like E, GCG support endothelial function, temper oxidative stress, and nudge blood pressure and LDL downward. Meta-analyses and small trials in journals such as AMJ Clin Neuter and Nutrients, Metab Cardiovasc Dis, consistently show modest reductions in systolic pressure and LDL. Exactly the margin you want after 60. Meet Mrs. Nakamura, 78, who used to start her day with healthy juice and perk up after lunch with a diet soda. She complained of afternoon brain fog, nighttime leg heaviness, and a creeping blood pressure trend. We swapped the sugary drinks for 2 daily cups of sencha, morning and mid-afternoon, and a matcha on gardening days kept her breakfast savory, miso soup, a scoop of barley rice, a little tofu, and asked her to sip tea with meals to ease post-meal strain. 4 weeks later, she noticed steadier energy, fewer bathroom trips, and calmer evening readings. Same routine, different cup. Do it the way elders do. For sencha, use hot, not boiling water, about 70 to 80 degrees Celsius, 160 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Steep 1 to 2 minutes and drink it plain. No sugar to blunt the benefits. For matcha, whisk half to 1 teaspoon in hot water until frothy. Think of it as a concentrated leaf, not a dessert. Aim for 2 to 3 unsweetened servings daily, earlier in the day if you're caffeine sensitive, and pair tea with meals or walks. If you're taking iron supplements, separate them from tea by a couple of hours. If you have specific cardiovascular or medication concerns, check with your clinician. What arrives first isn't fireworks. It's a quieter pulse, a clearer head, in the sense that afternoon is yours again. Next, we'll add the shoreline staple that carries minerals and unique polysaccharides your arteries will thank you for. Good food number 1. Seaweed, wakame, kombu. In elder Japanese kitchens, the day often starts with kombu simmering for dashi and a pinch of wakame slipped into miso soup. It's not garnish, it's quiet insurance, minerals, soluble fiber, and umami that lets you season with less salt. Human studies from Japan show why this matters. A seaweed-based sodium-potassium exchange preparation reduced intestinal sodium absorption and lowered blood pressure and mild hypertension, pointing to a practical way to tilt the sodium-potassium balance back in your favor after 60. Large Japanese cohorts suggest cardiovascular upsides too. In population studies, higher seaweed intake tracked with lower ischemic heart disease in women, and another analysis found lower total stroke, especially cerebral infarction, in men. Evidence varies by outcome, but the trend favors modest regular intake. Small clinical work with wakame in older hypertensive outpatients reported blood pressure reductions, while soluble alginates from brown seaweed have also shown 7% lower daily energy intake in free-living adults, useful when weight creeps up with age. Meet Mr. Ito, 90, who still walks to the harbor every morning. His daughter worried about salt, so the clinic dietitian adjusted the family's routine. Kombu for stock, briefly steeped, not boiled hard, and a small handful of soaked wakame in soup instead of pickled sides. A month later, he described steadier afternoon energy and calmer evening readings. Same kitchen, different base note. Do it the way elders do. For kombu dashi, wipe the kelp, soak, then heat gently and remove before a rolling boil. Great flavor with moderate iodine. Add soaked wakame to miso soup or cucumber salad. Think 1 to 2 tablespoons rehydrated per serving most days. If you need to limit iodine, know that longer boiling can leach iodine by up to approximately 99% from kombu. Newer data also show steaming preserves more iodine than boiling, so choose the method that fits your needs and talk with your clinician if you have thyroid disease. One shoreline habit, a few mouthfuls at a time, supporting vessels, weight control, and that independence you want to keep. It's not about fearing food or feeling guilty about what's on your plate. It's about making a few smarter swaps, the same ones Japanese elders have used for decades, to keep your heart, brain, and joints strong well into later life. With the right daily choices, you can reclaim your energy, protect your independence, and enjoy the years ahead, not just endure them. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which of these food swaps feels easiest for you to start today? Cutting soda, skipping white bread, swapping oils, or adding miso and green tea? Share your answer in the comments. We read and reply to every single one. And if you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe so more people over 60 can discover these simple science-backed habits. Because after all, your health is not just about living longer, it's about living better every single day.